Hello and welcome to the Three-Handed Bandits channel. It's Nathan and Aiden back with another video for you today. And today we're going to be giving you our analysis, picks, and some of our best bets for NFL Week 8. Last week, I'm coming off a very hot week where I was flying solo, and we're hoping that we're both going to be able to continue that heading into this interesting week slate of games. Before we get into all of these games, though, please go ahead and like and subscribe if you see any value. Either you're entertained or you think we're giving you good information. Please just go ahead and help us out. We're trying to grow. We're a small channel doing our best. And so, Aiden, I'm just going to go ahead and kick it straight off to you. Rams, Cowboys. Cowboys are 6-point favorites. How do you see this game turning out in Dallas?
It really affects, in my mind, towards coaching. When it comes to Mike McCarthy, we always talk about it, how much I hate him. But I do think the Cowboys can get it done. I have them covering the spread kind of convincingly at 26-18. The only thing in my mind that I could see happening at all is that the Rams could get something going with either Puka or Cooper Kupp. One of them is going to have a good game. I don't see both of them having a good game. That makes sense. Yeah. Anything. That's the only thing I could see happening, because the run game, I really don't think it's going to be a big factor for the Rams at all, and they're going to really rely on the pass, and they might not get as much as they want. So, give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, Dan Quinn is one of the main guys who was really relying heavy on that Seattle 3 scheme, and part of the rise of the Shanahan scheme was directly attacking that scheme. And while he's varied up what he does and is not afraid to run other stuff, that is still kind of the basis of what he wants to do. So I think the Rams might actually have a little bit of success. Matthew Stafford, even though the box score doesn't necessarily agree, he's been playing really well if you watch with your eyes. And we still got Puka and Cooper Kupp, who are both playing really well when they're out there. And so with that being said, I do think that the Rams have enough to keep it close on offense. I would be worried this could be a game where Cowboys defense really slows them down. But I feel like through the air, the Rams are going to be able to move the ball. However, I do agree this rushing game is going to be bad at best. And so I'm going with the Cowboys to win, a score of 24-20. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than maybe some people are kind of giving the Rams credit for. But I don't necessarily think that there will be an upset, just because I don't think the Rams have the talent to necessarily win this game. And the next up, we're going to go ahead and transition to the Minnesota Vikings versus the Green Bay Packers. To me, the fact that the Vikings and the Packers game opened at a pick'em was kind of strange to me. And so the line has kind of started shifting in the Vikings' favor. And I really do not know what I want to do with this game. My gut right now.
Are you going to change it?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know.
I can speak real quick and maybe change your mind. So mostly this game, I'm going to be honest, how I see it, it's going to be Vikings. Packers have not really shown anything for me, any success since the Saints game when it comes to at least Jordan Love's play. I do think they've had sparks, but nothing consistent. And the Vikings have been rolling. They have been basically just building up. They're getting better and better. They're progressing. The defense is looking better. Even without Justin Jefferson, I think Kirk Cousins is giving everyone opportunities. The only thing that I'm scared about is the passing, components of this Vikings team. They have Jordan Addison, who's going to be covered by Jair Alexander, and then KJ Osborne, and they could possibly even just double team Hawkinson. I'm just worried about that being an issue. I'm still going to have Vikings in a 28-20 win, and them covering, obviously.
I think I have clarity of what I'm going to say. I'm going for the Green Bay Packers now on the upset when it was originally an even game. For me, I feel like I'm getting into bed with Vegas. I feel like the fact that this game was a pick'em, to me, I think indicates that they think the Green Bay Packers are going to keep this game close. I definitely don't think this game is going to be a blowout on either side, just because I don't think either team is really talented enough to blow out another team, especially, each other. But I do think it's going to be kind of a gross, sloppy game. As I said, I do think Jair Alexander can really shut out Jordan Addison. And so I think the Packers are just going to find a way to kind of settle in. And so I'm going for a score of 18-17. The Vikings offense has been okay in the absence of Justin Jefferson, but it hasn't been great. You know what I mean? And the Packers do have a lot of talent. All they need is a couple stops, maybe a mistake from Kirk Cousins. I think they'll have enough to find a way to squeak a game out. And Jordan Love likes to throw the ball deep. They're going to really try to blitz and get after him, and all he needs is one or two just big busted plays to really kind of change momentum. So Packers 18-17 is what I'm going to go with on the upset. And the next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons versus the Tennessee Titans. And the Tennessee Titans feel like they are just mailing in this year and kind of looking forward towards the future. They're going to be without Ryan Tannehill in this game, and so Will Levis and Malik Willis, they've said, are going to get some playing time, so they're going to kind of see what they have in those two guys. And they also traded away Kevin Byard, who's one of the best safeties in the league, who they still had team control over. So to me, I think they're kind of selling and looking kind of towards the next phase of this team and this roster. And I think this defense is still talented enough where they can force a bad game and get some mistakes out of Ritter and have the upset. However, Malik Willis to me is not a NFL caliber quarterback. And so Will Levis is this huge, giant question mark of what he's going to be. I think he will be okay, adequate. I don't think he's going to play too horribly, but I don't think he's going to come in and necessarily win the game. However, I do think that is a possibility. But I think the Falcons and this Arthur Smith coming back home to Tennessee game are just going to find a way to kind of squeak this one out, kind of just how they've been doing. Having the Falcons at 5-3, I think is going to look really weird in the NFL standings because they do not feel like a team that's that good. I'm going for the Falcons to win it 20-17 on the road in Tennessee, but in Nashville is a hard game to win.
I completely agree. I think it's going to be just a gross game to watch. I have it even a lower score at 18-13 with the Atlanta winning, and I don't feel comfortable talking about this game at all.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, what kind of game you're going to get out of Ritter? What kind of game you're going to get out of Malik Willis? I mean, Malik Willis, he had the one good game last year where he shocked the world and beat the Chiefs. And then after that, nothing.
Yeah.
And then Will Levis is just this great arm talent that we don't know whether or not it can be produced onto the field at this level. So I'm eager to see what the Titans are going to be able to do with these guys and the direction they can go with Will Levis, obviously. But I could care less who wins, who loses this game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this is definitely not a game that I'm comfortable really betting on. Not really a game I fully want to watch either. The next up, your New Orleans Saints are going against the Colts. Now, I think this line opened with Colts -1 and is now shifted all the way to Saints -1.5. I could
Mine's
be wrong
at
about
Saints
that.
-2.
Oh, it's up to -2 now. At the time I wrote this down, it was -1.5. But so it seems like there's some serious money going for the Saints. What do you think is going to happen with your Saints?
I don't know. This movement's kind of scaring me. I will always go with the Saints. I'm even gonna get a lock as always. I can't say no to my Saints. I have them winning 24-21. Offensively, when it comes down to it, Derek Carr is just it's weird to watch him because sometimes he'll have these but basically in between the 20s, he's awesome. And then when it gets to the 20 to the end zone, I'm just like, is he going to score or is he going to mess up or something's going to happen to where they shoot themselves in the foot, basically? Because the past 2 weeks, this past week, they missed the tying to go into overtime. Granted, they probably were going to lose, but still, the possibility of going into overtime could have changed them, that momentum that they had. And again, before that, all those missed field goals changing the direction of how they played the game hurt them. So, they're sitting at 3-4. They could be sitting way different if you change those two small aspects, but still, I don't know. And the Colts have been doing pretty well. Gardner Minshew's been looking pretty solid, other than that one game. But I'm not gonna lie to you. This game's kind of a weird one to me. But I'm always gonna stick with my Saints, them covering, them winning, and nothing else to it.
Yeah, no, this is also a little bit of a weird game for me, just because what version of the Saints team are we going to get? Derek Carr just has not looked very good, really, at any point throughout this season. And I don't necessarily think that's going to change against the Colts defense, which is okay. Like, it's not bad. It's one of the kind of middle tier of defenses. They're able to force mistakes out of Lamar Jackson earlier in the year. And outside of that game against us, against the Jags, Gardner Minshew and this Colts offense has just been rolling, regardless if it was Anthony Richardson or Minshew playing. And I feel like the Saints defense is a little overrated. And Shane Steichen, to me, is kind of this year's version of what Mike McDaniels was last year, where I think he's starting to prove that he's like going to be one of the top offensive minds in the NFL. And so this is really just me backing, I think, who's the better coach, what's going to be the better offense, and two defenses are very similar. And so with that being said, I'm going Colts 24-16, but this could swing either way, and I really would not be surprised. And the next up, we got the Pats going to Miami to go against the Dolphins. Tua has dominated Belichick in his career, and now he's a 9.5-point favorite against him.
The line shifted. It's -8.5 now.
Oh, it's -8.5 now. Perfect. Well, I was on the side that was going to rock with the Pats. I feel like outside of that 2 to 3 week stretch where everybody on the Patriots was injured, week 3, week 4, we were talking about how the Patriots are an unlucky 1-3 team. You know what I mean? Now they just upset the Bills and they're starting to get some momentum back. And I think Belichick is going to find a creative way to kind of limit this Dolphins offense, similar to how they did earlier in the season on Sunday Night Football. The only thing I would be worried about is I just don't think the Dolphins, or I think the Patriots don't have the talent and the speed and the explosivity to really match what the Dolphins can and will do. But with that being said, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I'm going to go 26-20. It's going to be my score prediction. I think it's going to be a somewhat close game. Maybe we'll have another game where the Patriots are trying to find a way to score a touchdown to kind of win it or tie it. But I do think they are going to fall just short in this one.
I agree to a fault when it comes down to the Patriots. But again, I trust Bill Belichick and his ability to coach. But in my mind, the Dolphins are too good of a team, especially being at home, that they could possibly just run away with this game. Obviously, there's two possibilities of the game. Either it's going to be close or it's not. And I'm going with it's not. I'm going with the side of Miami basically just rolling. I have 32-18. Obviously, I had the cover when it was -9.5. I have it at -8.5. I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots do something, but as of right now, I have not seen 2 weeks in a row of good Patriots ball. So once they start doing that, I'll start changing how I feel. But Dolphins have shown several weeks in a row that they can do it, or they just small slip ups here and there. So yeah, give me the Dolphins.
In our next matchup, we're going to be talking about the Battle of New York as the Jets are on the road in their own home stadium to go against the New York Giants. This line at the time I wrote this down was at 3. Is it still at 3?
It is still at 3.
To me, that feels way too low. I'm going with the Jets to win this. I think it's going to be 17-12. This Giants defense is kind of starting to pick some stuff up and look a lot better. And the Jets are coming off the bye, so they could come out just a little bit flat. But I think the Jets are a better team. Overall, this defense is just super, super talented. And while Tyrod Taylor has given this offense a little bit of functionality just because he can kind of move and extend plays more than Daniel Jones can, he's still Tyrod Taylor. He's still not a starting quarterback in the NFL for a reason. He's maybe the 34th best quarterback. You know what I mean? He's a good player, but you don't want him starting. So I don't think he's going to do enough for them to win this game against a really talented defense. However, I do think that if you want to be really cheeky, like putting money on like Giants first quarter or Giants first half could be a good bet because I think they're going to kind of come in really riled up. But I think ultimately the better team is going to find a way to just keep coming and find a way to squeak this game out. So yeah, Jets 17-12, and a little bit of a gross, sloppy, low-scoring game.
I mean, I have a middle tier game when it comes to point total. I have 25-16 for the Jets. I'm starting to gain a little more faith in Zach Wilson. Again, it goes back to his mind, and whether or not he can make the right timed throws. I mean, he has the arm. He has the arm. He can sling it. It's just whether or not mentally he can break down a defense, and that's the only thing I'm scared about. But the Giants' defense, they're kind of all over the place. I mean, they could get in his head. I mean, sexy Dexy could do some damage, but other than that, I'm not really seeing anything positive for the Giants other than Saquon and a little bit of the ability of Tyrod Taylor. I think just having him back there as a different pacemaker compared to Daniel Jones kind of gets them a different edge than they're used to. But other than that, yeah, I completely agree. Give me the Jets.
Nice. All right. In the next game, we're going for the Jaguars versus the Steelers, and I'm going to call in one of my upsets of the week. I'm going to have the Steelers win this one 23-18. I just feel like that the Jaguars are somewhat due for a little bit of a loss. I do think the Steelers have a good enough defense. Like against the Saints, Trevor Lawrence was able to kind of, keep moving, keep sprinting, make a lot of rushes, pick up some crucial downs. Just because I do think the Saints defense is just a little bit slower. So while you can outrun, Cam Jordan on 3rd and 8, you're not outrunning TJ Watt on 3rd and 8. I think the Steelers defense has been balling. Somehow they've scraped this team to a 4-2 record, which God, they do not seem like they should be a team with a winning record. But I think they're just gonna find a way to kind of squeak this one out and force some mistakes from Trevor Lawrence, who's been solid this year. I don't think he's necessarily been elite, but he's definitely had more good than bad and a lot more good than bad. But I do think he's going to be just kind of due just for a little bit of a sloppy game. And I don't necessarily think that Calvin Ridley or Christian Kirk are necessarily going to feast in this game either. But yeah, 23-18, I think the Steelers offense will do just enough. And paired with this defense, it's a winning formula, as Mike Tomlin has proven time in and time out.
I obviously have huge vendettas when it comes to certain coaching, and Matt Canada is one of them. Obviously, the entire place of Pittsburgh agrees with me when it comes to firing Matt Canada, and I want it to happen sooner rather than later. So I want the Jags to basically just hurt them enough to where people go, you know what, maybe they're right. Jags -2, and covering the spread 28-23. I would like the Steelers to win, but the problem is when it comes to if they win, Matt Canada keeps his job. And that's, in my mind, what's happening. They would still keep above their 500 for Mike Tomlin, so I'm still rooting for that, but I really hate Matt Canada. They need to lose so he can lose,
Sure. The next up, we got the Eagles versus the Washington Commanders. To me, this is a game that I just don't really – the Commanders have been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I don't think that they're going to do this. This Eagles team is an absolute buzzsaw at the moment. Jalen Hurts settled in, is playing better. A.J. Brown is looking like he could be starting to be put in the conversation of one of the top 3 to 4 wide receivers in the NFL. And this defense is balling. And, of course, the NFL let Jalen Carter go to the Eagles. Howie Roseman is finding ways to just keep lapping every other general manager in the NFL. And so I think this is going to be just a complete blowout. I'm going for a score of 31-0. I'm predicting a shutout. 31-0. Eagles win this in Washington's home stadium. Shut them out. And hopefully Ron Rivera, finally, they just kick him to the curb.
I don't think it's going to be to 0. I think they'll give them some pity. Give me 35-13. I'm trying to give anything about the Commanders that I can get them to possibly getting a touchdown, a couple field goals. And as I say 13, I don't know if they can, but I still think it's really hard to just blow someone out in the NFL. Everyone's professionals. I mean, but still, the Eagles, man, they are a scary sight, especially with the 49ers issues. I think they're the team right now that everyone should be looking at. Like, that's the team to beat.
Yeah, for sure. And the next up, we got the Houston Texans going to Carolina. Um, I think there is a little bit of an upset alarm that kind of could be ringing in the back of your head for this game. Panthers, their offense is starting to get a little bit better. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, get used to the new play caller that they're going to have. This defense is starting a little bit healthier, and so I do think there's a legit world where the Panthers could upset the Texans here at home. I don't necessarily think I would bet on it just because betting on this version, betting on the Panthers that we've seen this year, to me, just isn't a good recipe. But I definitely do think it's in the cards. And it's something I would definitely be worried about. And so I would not feel comfortable kind of betting on the Texans. But I do still think they're going to win. I have them 23-20 just because CJ Stroud has just been, one of the top 14-ish quarterbacks this year. And if you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, usually your chances of winning will go up.
I completely agree. I do think that the Panthers' offense has starting to look better. I mean, obviously, Adam Thielen's his ability to his red zone ability is utterly insane. To be honest with you, to get open and crucial times for the Panthers, and that's helping them put points on the board. But I have Houston covering at 27-21. I think it's to be a closer game. Obviously, they have it at -3.5. I still think that it could be a close game, maybe even a win for the Panthers. I mean, again, it's hard to be 0-7. They're going to have to win one game this year, and which game is it going to be for them? And this could be one of those.
Yeah, no, definitely desperate team coming off the bye. This definitely could be a game that they finally get their first win of this new era. But now we'll head to the Cleveland Browns versus the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle are 4-point favorites. What do you think is going to happen in this game?
Okay. I don't know, but I think the gods are speaking to me. But the Browns look like I don't know. The Browns, I have a feeling, are going to win this game. I just have this disturbing score of 18-17. Basically, the Browns defense is legit. And the Seahawks offense to me has been a little underwhelming compared to last year. Geno Smith, last year was like a team of destiny almost, where they were like rolling. Geno Smith was looking like this is his comeback year. And then this year it's like they've added pieces. There's no one that's on their offense that they've lost. And it's like, why? Where did it go? Where was that momentum that they had? And I haven't seen that from them yet. And like I said, the Browns defense, holy smokes. Yeah, so I think just off of that, I might even sprinkle in a little Browns defensive touchdown in there. Who knows? To seal the game off at 18-17 Browns. Just a weird low scoring game.
Yeah, this Browns defense has been legit, great this year, top 3 unit, no doubt. And this Seattle offense, outside that upset against the Lions, the Seattle offense just has not looked as good as people were expecting it to be. Part of it is I just think that they're weak in the trenches. Geno Smith is definitely struggling, and struggling. He's still playing like a starting quarterback, but not the top 8, top 6 quarterback he was playing like at times last year. And for me, I feel like the Browns are just the better team. At least I think they're in the very similar tier of definitely not like Super Bowl or real threats in the playoffs, but definitely kind of playoff locks. And then I just feel like the Browns are a better team. Last week with PJ Walker playing most of the game, they still put up 40 points. So I'm not worried about this offense, and I don't think that this defense is going to have another bad game in a row. And so I'm going 20-17 is actually the score that I am going to have. Even though the Browns are without Deshaun Watson, PJ Walker, I think, is still capable of getting this upset in Seattle. And the next up, we got the best NFL quarterback in NFL history, Patrick Mahomes, going against the Denver Broncos. Chiefs are 7-point favorites. I think it's going to be very similar to what happened the last time they played, but I just think there might be some even more scoring from the Broncos. This Broncos team just has not given me any signs of life. Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the league. Travis Kelce is still one of the best offensive weapons in the league. This defense for the Chiefs has been absolutely insane. Trent McDuffie's balling. This Broncos team just has some weird kind of voodoo on them. I think it might be from kind of like a curse from getting rid of Tebow Mania, is my theory. But I'm going Chiefs to win 28-16 in a game that I don't think really should be close, and I really don't have any faith in the Broncos to get an upset.
I completely agree. There's nothing much really to say about it. I mean, you hit all the points. I have the Kansas City Chiefs actually scoring more at 32-18. I mean, when you have Taylor Swift on your side, it's kind of hard to say that you're going to be losing any games, you know?
Yeah.
It's right now, especially with the huge, like, the progression they made with their wide receiver room, everyone's starting to catch the ball. So that makes the team even scarier, in my opinion. That there's really no flaws other than like their fixes that they're doing. Like I said, with the progression of everyone actually catching the ball with MVS and Kadarius Toney and these guys that were struggling at the beginning of the year. I don't know what with some Butterfinger syndrome, but now they're shaping up, getting open, and Mahomes is obviously balling. So.
Yeah, I mean, this team has yet to lose a game. I mean, they lost the first game of the season when they lost two of their top three players on short notice, and ever since then have just been fairly dominant in every game since. So I think that trend is going to continue. The next up, we got the Ravens traveling to Arizona, 10-point spread. Look, this Cardinals team at the start of the year, has it shifted?
9.5.
Ooh,
9.5.
people are back in the Cardinals. This Cardinals team, they started off feisty and was able to kind of play tough and play in it. But as more and more games are going to be played, you'll see the talent differential keep going up. This is a little bit of a trap game to me. You know, after a really big win against a really good team, coming in the next week and dropping a game against a team like the Cardinals, who's one of the bottom three teams in the league. Definitely something that I think the Baltimore Ravens are capable of. But that's more just them falling into a trap game rather than the Ravens being bad. So on paper, there should be no reason for the Ravens to lose this game. I'm going 26-7 will be my score prediction. This Ravens defense is balling, Lamar Jackson is balling, and the Cardinals should not really be much of threats in this game, in my opinion.
Completely agree. I have 30-10 with Baltimore covering, obviously. I mean, yes, the Cardinals beat the Cowboys, but, like, again, if we're comparing teams, I mean, the Ravens are a better team than the Cowboys, in my opinion, with talent and the, like, possibility of just what they can do. There's a solid defense and obviously a better quarterback. So there shouldn't be a reason that this game is anywhere close. But I would be mad as a Baltimore fan if the Cardinals somehow win this game.
Yeah. And the next up, we got the Bengals-Niners game. Opened at 5.5 for the Niners, then dropped down to 4. Now it's back up to 5 with the whole Brock Purdy is out, but now he's going to play. And so back to 5. Brock Purdy is playing for the Niners. What do you think is going to happen in this game against the Bengals?
I'm not going to lie to you. Even with Purdy or Sam, I don't really think there would have been much of a change in my mind. I'm going Bengals only because I love the Bengals. I have just a deep love for them. Obviously, I love Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and what they're doing. They had a bye week, and the 49ers did they lose their last two games? Like, do I dare say the Bengals are give the 49ers their first home loss this season. I don't know, but I want to. I want to. I'm not going to give it a lock, but I'm going to give it a definite upset alert for a 24-21 finish. I don't think it's going to be anything flashy offensively for either side. I think it's just going to be a really hard-fought game that ends with a game-winning field goal for the Bengals.
So at first I was on the Niners side, and then I switched to the Bengals. But I'm switching back to the Niners. I just cannot see this Kyle Shanahan-led team that, is still without Debo, but everyone else looks like they should be fairly healthy. I can't see them losing 3 games in a row. I think Nick Bosa is going to wake up. I feel like, been somewhat underwhelming this year. So I do think we're going to get a really good game from Charles Omenihu and Nick Bosa getting after the quarterback. No, Charles Omenihu, I think he's on the Chiefs. Or is he on the Niners? I don't remember. Or else I think Nick Bosa is going to start cooking, really start cooking this game, really get after Joe Burrow and just a weaker offensive line. At least Joe Burrow is getting healthy, and so I do think that, he's going to be able to extend plays like he hasn't been able to do early in the season. And so I think it's going to be a close game just because the Bengals are still a talented team, and definitely if they keep kind of proving how the last couple of weeks are, they are a Super Bowl caliber team. The defense is warming up. But as I said, I can't imagine 3 losses in a row for the 49ers. And so I'm going for them to win 24-22. Whoa, 24-22.
About to say, holy moly! I didn't
That was
whoa! If this game
typo.
ends with 49 points for the 49ers, I'm gonna be jaw dropping. Like,
well,
yo,
you heard it here first. No, 24-22. That was a typo. I think the 49ers are just the better team still. And then Sunday Night Football, I'm going for the big lock of the week. So to me, now, this game to me, I'm picking this based purely off narrative. And that narrative is that they would have flexed this game out of prime time with the Bengals Niners or maybe Eagles Commanders, Jags Steelers. They would have flexed this game out of prime time because an 8.5-point spread, a Chicago Bears team led by Tyson Bagent, an undrafted second or D2 rookie quarterback, versus a Chargers team that's been really bad. They would have flexed this game out of prime time unless there was something fishy going on. And so like the other week, Bills, Giants, when that was the primetime game, they didn't flex that. I was like, why would they not flex this out? It's a 15-point spread. It's because Vegas knows something, and there is a storyline that is super important for this game, and that is that the Brandon Staley defense is going to be soft and just let the Chicago Bears do what they want on offense, and they're going to lose to an undrafted former Division II rookie quarterback, and Brandon Staley, his head will finally be chopped off in the guillotine. So I think the Bears will win this on the road, upset pick. This is the game that will finally get Brandon Staley fired and hopefully free the Chargers from this cesspool of mediocrity they've been in under the last 3 years of his regime. So Bears 20-16.
Dare I follow? Dare I follow? You know what? Screw it. I completely agree. Brandon Staley should have lost his job back with the Vikings game. That game was one of the worst coached games. He got lucked out by a tipped interception to end the game in his favor. Irritating to watch. Basically, the Chargers are just a worse version of the Cowboys. Dare I say that? Dare I say it? To where it's bad coaching and a pretty decent roster all around. I mean, there's more holes in the Chargers, obviously, compared to the Cowboys, but still, with Justin Herbert and having such a dynamic offense, you should be able to have like 2-4. They're 2-4. That is a crazy thing to say. I thought they would be way different position wise at this point of the year. So making them 2-5. So I have 20-18. I screw it. The Bears.
Da Bears. And then last up, Monday Night Football, the Raiders versus the Lions in Detroit. Do you have a whole lot of thoughts on this? Because for me, it's very simple.
Really, it is. I mean, as simple as it is, Detroit needs a bounce back game. They looked like crap. This is the game to basically go, hey, we're not gone. That was just a fluke. They prepared. We weren't. Now we are prepared. They're winning 28-13 in this game. Them covering. I just love the Lions too much. I love Dan Campbell. I think they're going to bounce back against this weaker team in the Raiders. Easy.
Yeah, I agree. With the culture here in place, I really think Dan Campbell is going to get these boys fired up. And so I'm going for the Lions to win this 24-16. Even with the Raiders getting Jimmy Garoppolo back, I don't think that offense is going to look great. And I really think the Detroit Lions are going to come in pissed off, and they're going to be a scary team to go against for the next couple of weeks while they're really going to be playing red hot. But yeah, 24-6. I don't know if I think the Raiders are going to be super competitive. I think that 8-point spread is pretty indicative of how far away these two teams are. But before we head out of here, is there anything you'd like to add, Aiden?
Just a happy Halloween to everyone.
Happy Halloween. Stay spooky. Get some candy and come back and go ahead and leave us another like and subscribe if our picks end up turning out right, or laugh in the comments if we go 0-16 on both of our picks. But overall, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for sticking around, and we'll be back with some more content for you later in the week. But happy trick-or-treating. Da Bears!